Right, it's time for business, and Sandra Fenu has joined me in the studio. Hello, Sandra.
Right. Hello, Israel.
I'm sure you were following the conversation we were having about
Very interesting conversation
HIV/AIDS.
and brings back a lot of memories.
Okay, such as?
I mean, the campaigns that we saw on television those days, the adverts, while it was playing, everybody in the newsroom was singing along.
Okay.
We could relate to it, and it did the magic, and a lot of people were very cautious of the things they do when it comes to their sexual life. But
now, one of the things that I heard this evening that Dr. Badu said was that she says there's a young woman here in Accra who is very beautiful.
Right.
You know, the figure.
Curvaceous lady.
Yeah, the curvaceous lady and all that, who tells there are men who are chasing her, big men, she says, big men with Land Cruisers who are chasing her. She tells them that I have HIV/AIDS. And the men say, no, it's
oh my
because
God,
you don't want
that's
to sleep with
scary.
us. And they're going after her and sleeping with her.
Unbelievable.
It's worrying.
Yes, I know. Well, let's do business now. We have a lot to talk about in business. Hello, good evening. My name is Sandra Sanamapeno. As always, I'm here for business. We start with the banking sector. And the banking sector in Ghana is gradually shifting from full branch operations to an era of digital and agency banking. After the banking sector cleanup by the Bank of Ghana, some foreign banks have boosted their performance with increase in deposits due to the loss of confidence in the local banks. But in a quest to woo more investors, CalBank has added agency banking to its 29 existing branches across the country. Beneza Sabuti has more in the following report.
CalBank is expected to complete moves to use agency banking to grow its deposits by the end of this quarter 2019. According to the bank, even though there's a strong confidence in the banking sector after the Bank of Ghana cleanup exercise, some local banks still struggle to mobilize deposits compared with their foreign counterparts. Executive Director of the bank, Philip Oredu, addressing brokers and some shareholders at the facts behind the figures in Accra, disclosed that the bank is implementing a digital strategy with some agents to support expansion.
It's a product which basically allows us to improve upon our footprints through agents. So basically you can have somebody like a pharmacy, a filling station, being an agent of the bank. And by so doing, you are able to provide your products and services to a wider market. So in the first place, that is going to ensure that our clientele base grows. It's going to ensure that our services are easily available to the market, and through that we'll be able to mobilize deposits.
Philip Oredu has also been commenting on the bank's capital adequacy ratio.
Capital adequacy, as at now, as you saw, is about almost 18% now. So the 18%, you manage your capital adequacy by ensuring that your risk-weighted assets that you have in relation to your capital is well managed, so that you stay above the minimum of 13%, but also ensure that you are managing your capital very well, so that you also don't go up high.
The bank's income and profit before tax grew by 27.3% and 22.5% year on year.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Stock Exchange says activities on the BERS has picked up in recent time. This has been attributed to regain confidence in the banking sector after the cleanup. Deputy Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afeji, indicated the market will be doing more aggressive campaigns to boost listing.
One thing that we all need to understand is that markets are impacted by many factors and can be positive or negative. One key thing is how the economy is doing. If you look at the economy, inflation is coming down, interest rates fell to some extent, but treasury bills inch up a little, GDP is being projected to grow. So on the economy front, it's stabilizing, it's improving, okay. But there are other factors, don't forget. People invest for returns, and therefore it's important that investors also have the confidence and also they're attracted to the kind of investments that they can put their money in. Let's take the stock market. Last 2 years, the market went up by 52%. Last year went down by just about negative 0.28. As we speak, it's about -7. The financial stocks index is about -4. We are beginning to see some improvement in terms of prices beginning to go up and the indices improving. And I suspect the reason is the confidence people have in the financial market is coming back. Maybe as a result of cleaning up of the banking sector. The banking stocks, if you put them together, form the biggest value on our market. So once that improves, you're likely to see that. Going forward, we need to also try and get more companies to be listed. We need to encourage more Ghanaian companies to go out there and raise long-term capital. It's very important so that investors will have some other investment avenues to put their money. We've created pension funds. Where are they putting their money? We should allow them to be putting their funds in only short-term and government securities. It should go into the real sector where manufacturing firms, other companies can come, float equity, float bonds, raise money, so we can see serious impacts on the economy. And that is the role of the capital market, and that is why capital markets are important. So going forward, our concentration is going to be how do we get more companies to be on the market. We'll keep on educating them. We'll keep on going to potential listed companies so that we can get them on this market. At the same time, educating investors as to how to invest, the risks associated with investments, etc.
To other stories now, the 4th edition of the Ghana Chief Executive Officer CEO Summit, slated for May 20 and 21 of this year, will explore capacity of an ongoing technological revolution to transform Ghana's economy. About 40 CEOs from across Africa are expected at this year's event. Speaking at a cocktail to announce the speakers for this year's event, CEO of Chief Executive Network Ghana Limited, Ernest de Graaf Ejui, said the discussion has become necessary due to changing trends in the business world.
We all know that the gap between the public sector and the private sector is very wide. However silent it is, it still continues. There isn't a single platform in Ghana that engages from the president to ministers, policymakers, to the private sector. So what we have done today is that we've been able to create a platform where the president knows that it is this time of the year I need to meet these captains of industry to inform them about the policy directions. And it's also the time for the private sector to engage the ministers, cabinet ministers in particular, and the government in regards to doing business in Ghana and the practicality of the economy. We have a panel that is going to address how to radically transform your businesses. And mostly in Ghana, businesses do not travel after the life of the owners. That's one. Two, most Ghanaian businesses don't go multinational.
The Advertising Association of Ghana says this year's African Leadership Conference will bring together a network of business leaders to discuss emerging issues in the advertising industry. Executive Producer of Advertising Association of Ghana, Francis Dazi, says the two-day conference will address how the industry will leverage technology to improve activities within the sector. He was speaking in an interview with Joy Business ahead of the conference.
We're looking at Facebook and what are the trends and how we can leverage it in our marketing, communication, and advertising. People are using Facebook just for gossip and things like that, negative story, but we think that there's a positive aspect of it which businesses can strive with. So that's what we're looking at. So the theme also is that we're looking at the trends, technology trends versus consumer choice. Who is determining the future? Is it technology or is it the consumer who is determining the future for our industry and our kind of business that we do? In some jurisdictions, they are using regulations to block the ability to advertise on certain areas, okay? But there's also belief that there are threats to consumer choices with regulation. So we want to look at how partnership can work, because in some countries who are attending, they are doing self-regulation. But in our part of our world, self-regulation is alien. And so there must be some level of regulation, and that
So we have gold, cocoa, and oil, but are we really benefiting as a nation from these commodities? That's up for discussion when I come back with Business News. But now we have...